For the last 46 years, the Japan International Cooperation Agency, Jica, has been implementing programs in various sectors across the country. But behind these projects, there are thousands of volunteers that have made it possible that the services are delivered. On this week's edition of Your Platform, we look at the role of a volunteer in community development. I am your presenter, Macpherson Mkuka. Stay tuned.
I've been living with Zambian family, so they bari lionse na musari lionse, like kare brach bua carpenter kasepa shani. I go to church sometimes with family, and there I experienced the funeral at my home. I was surprised that more than 60 women are sleeping together in our room and then singing together late at night. But thanks to them, I think I'm experiencing lots of Zambian culture, so I think I'm very lucky. But one thing that I haven't done is cooking chicken, from killing chicken. So about my life, what I want to do for the rest of month is I just want to try killing chicken and then cook them nicely. And then at the last, I think I like Zambian people. They are very friendly and they are very kind, even though sometimes they make me angry a bit. But they are also the one who make me happy. And then those are children in compound. And then those children, whenever they saw me, they just wave hands, they call my name, they run to me and shake hands, hugging. And then sometimes when I feel very bad or when I have some trouble at work, but once I saw they are smiling, once they come to me and hugging me, those bad feelings disappear. So they are bringing me peace in my heart. So, and then I think what a precious experience that it is, what I'm having. So.
I am now joined by Mwaba Tsala, who is Programs Officer, Volunteer Sector at Jica. Mwaba, welcome to your platform.
Thank you very much.
What is Volunteer Sector?
Volunteer Sector in Jica is basically the part of Jica that recruits volunteers that you see, the Japan Overseas Cooperation volunteers that are coming to Zambia to work in the various sectors.
On what merits do you recruit these volunteers?
Okay. Basically, as Jica, we don't have a pool of volunteers who are just waiting to dispatch. So what we do is our volunteer system is request-based. So right now, we receive requests from the various government institutions like schools, clinics, who are in need of a volunteer to work in various sectors. So what we do is once we receive a request from these institutions, I'll give an example of a school. Once we receive that request, we process it through our office. We see what kind of a person they are looking at, the qualification, sometimes even the age group and the sex, it matters. And after that, we forward those applications to our headquarters in Japan. Only after that does JICA recruit through a public announcement, just like a normal job. They'll advertise to say we are advertising for different positions as volunteers in different parts of the world. Because as you may be aware, volunteers don't only come to Zambia or Africa, they are all over the world. So only after that, people apply to say they would like to work as JICA volunteers. They are screened and they go through a lot of recruitment processes in Japan until finally they are interviewed and selected to come to Zambia and other parts of the world.
What challenges do you face working with volunteers in this country?
Working with volunteers, I think on a personal level for the volunteers, I think sometimes it's a big challenge when it comes to adjusting coming from a highly industrialized and developed country, most of these volunteers are based right at the grassroots, some in rural areas where there's no water, there's no electricity. So for some of them, it's a bit difficult to adjust. So the first few months, I think they spend adjusting to the new situation. Then after that, they're able to carry out their work effectively. And another challenge, maybe on a policy point of view, sometimes it's difficult to dispatch volunteers in certain fields because of the professional requirements. For instance, I'll give an example of health sector. We have nurses that are highly qualified that are coming from Japan, but once they come to Zambia, they are required to register with the General Nursing Council in Zambia. So what that means is they have to apply and write an exam under the General Nursing Council. And these are exams that are held not so often in a year. So a volunteer is dispatched for 2 years to Zambia. So once this health professional comes, it means they have to wait until that exam is written, and then again wait several months for the results to be published and for the license to be issued. This has been a very big challenge. So what we do is when volunteers are dispatched under health, they don't come into direct treatment with patients. So they just do support work like recording patient records, helping to organize the health facilities and things like that, without directly handling or treating patients, even though ideally they are very qualified to do so.
I am now joined by Mikia Takeuchi, who is a volunteer at Jica. Mikia, welcome to your platform.
Thank you very much.
Do share with us your volunteer work in Zambia.
Okay. I'm working at the Zambia Chamber of Small and Medium Business Associations, which is supporting so-called micro, small and medium enterprises in all over Zambia. Yeah.
Why did you decide to take up voluntary work?
Okay. So I was previously working at the pharmaceutical company in Japan. Yeah, so pharmaceutical companies is to support people's life. Yes, so I somehow wanted to support people in all over the world, not only in Japan but also other countries. Yes.
So you decided to leave a well-paying job and decided to come to Zambia and start working on a voluntary basis. What are some of the benefits of working as a volunteer?
Okay. So the biggest opportunity for me is to be able to experience in working in other countries, especially in Africa. Yes, the company I was working in Japan was doing business in Japan, America, and EU only. Yes, so this can be my next chance.
How would you describe your experience working as a volunteer in Zambia?
Okay, so this is my first experience to support micro, small, and medium enterprises. Yes, but through the experience in Japan, America, and EU, I can adapt some of the way of thinking, way of doing business. Yes, such as the managing companies to improve the operations, some kind of like that. So I can support in terms of such perspectives.
Would you advise or encourage any one person to join working as a volunteer?
Okay. So mainly, yes, the most important thing is strong will. Yes, such as enthusiasm. Yes, to achieve something. Yes, so to live in Japan or to enjoy that life in Japan is very easy. Yes, there is no difficulty, basically. But in Africa or any other countries, we can suffer from the difficulty which we are not able to experience in Japan. So this experience can, how can I say, to be a very, very positive perspective for people, yes, to overcome something. Yes, so I want to emphasize that to my colleague in Japan.
This is Still Your Platform, a program that gives you an opportunity as members of the community to air various views on matters that are affecting you. I am now joined by Dr. Joseph Mlenga, who is the president of Zambia Jica Fellowship Association. He will be sharing with us the association's programs in Zambia. Dr. Mlenga, welcome to your platform.
Thank you very much.
You have been president of the Zambia Jica Fellowship Association for the last 19 years. What are the programs that you as a fellowship are implementing in Zambia?
Our role as the Zambia Jica Fellowship Association is to act as a bridge between the two countries in the area of economic cooperation and the cultural aspect. The interchange of cultural programs between the government and the peoples of Japan and that of Zambia. Jica is comprised of Japanese trainees, Zambians who have gone to Japan for training. As you may be aware, the Japanese government sponsors close to 150 Zambians to go for training in Japan in the various fields that are of importance to the development of this country in agriculture, in education, health, the private sector, infrastructure, energy, in all the key developmental areas for the country. So all the trainees who come back are recruited as members of this alumni, which then forms a family of people who try to assist in fostering and strengthening the relationship between Japan and Zambia.
How would you describe your working relation with the main body of Jica?
That's why I've been president for 19 years, because I find it exciting. The driving force in our relationship is that we recognize the value that the Japanese people are adding to the socio-economic development of this country. And even as early as 97, when I joined, I realized that most of the Japanese support to Zambia was through grants. It wasn't through loans. For many, many years, most of the projects that were undertaken in Zambia, massive projects, infrastructure projects in education, health, the transport sector, energy, they were all grants, meaning Zambia did not incur any cost. So I found that to be very, very deep relationship, where you find people giving without expecting that much in return or contribution. Of course, that has changed over the years. Now there is a bit of concessional loans that are being given now, that Zambia now will be able to pay some of the money back. But for the large part, in the early part of the cooperation, most of the investment or the support was through grant aid, but also technical cooperation, where they send the experts in various fields. Training Zambians there is not enough, but to help them implement the skills that they learn in Japan in their work environment through support of these technical experts who are dispatched to Zambia through Jica experts or volunteers, some of them working in various fields, in Zambia, helps Zambians to be able to implement the skills and knowledge that they have learned into practical skills that can result in tangibles, things that we can touch. If you can imagine, one of the challenges that countries like ours face in terms of developing people's skills is how to develop their hands-on experience and translate the psychomotor functions, what you have in the mind, and translate into what you can actually do with your hands. So that is where the Japanese cooperation comes in handy, because it's mainly focused on skills transfer and people-to-people interaction. So we found it very exciting, and every year we have our annual general meeting. Now we hold it every year. I challenge for the presidents, and I always win. I find it exciting. I'm motivated. So I carry around a group of executive members who are equally motivated. Our membership has grown. I think we have over 3,000 Zambians who have been trained so far in Japan, and that family keeps growing. And most of these Zambians now hold very important positions in government. They are VIPs. They are like myself, for example. I'm the medical director of transfusion service. When I went for training, I went to training on blood transmissible infections, and that has helped me to contribute to the delivery of the healthcare services in Zambia.
You're still watching your platform, and this time around I'm joined by Jica Chief Representative in Zambia, Mr. Hisanao Noda. Mr. Noda, welcome to your platform.
Thank you very much.
I understand you've been here for quite some time now. How has been your experience working for Jica, first of all, as a volunteer?
As a volunteer, it was almost 30 years ago. I taught chemistry and physics in the secondary school. I enjoyed the working with the Zambian teachers there. Compared to those days, this country is developing now. Yes, a lot of development has been done, but still there are some challenges to be solved. I think so.
For the past 30 years that you've been in Zambia, what would you say has been your greatest achievement?
Well, when I compare the situation 30 years ago, for example, the road between my town, I was in Serenge in the central province, but now when I go to Serenge by car, there is no pothole on the road, and more cars are running on the road, and more items or more commodities are sold in every town, in every market. The market is vitalized compared to 30 years ago.
We understand that as Jica, there are a number of projects that you are undertaking in Zambia in various sectors. Briefly share with us some of these projects and in what areas, provinces or other places you are undertaking these projects.
Yeah, we are extending our project throughout the country, including all the provinces. We have the three main areas. The promoting investment and improvement of infrastructure and the development of social welfare. And so we are implementing some infrastructure program like construction of the road and improvement electricity, and also the promotion of the investment from Japan, and also there's some project in health, education, and water supply. That is the one example of our cooperation.
How are you rolling out these projects?
We have some different schemes. They using the technical assistance, or they providing grant aid, or they're offering the concessional loans. But in any cases, our motto is the working together with the Zambian people. So, for example, in the education sector or health sector, we are sending an expert, but those experts are working together with a Zambian counterpart to implement the project. So that is our style.
Is there a platform that you as Jica is providing for the local people, the Zambians that would want to be volunteers working with you?
Actually, we are sending Japanese volunteers using the Japanese ODS scheme. But we understand that there are some Zambian volunteers working, for example, in the health center or something like that. And always our volunteers are working together with them.
Do you provide any training to the Zambian volunteers?
No, not directly, but through the working together with the Japanese volunteer and the Zambian volunteers, we're making the technical transfer from Japanese volunteer to Zambian volunteers, and sometimes the Zambian volunteers are teaching our volunteers.
As we come to the end of this interview, how would you describe your Jica's relationship with the government of the Republic of Zambia?
Yes, since the independence of the Zambia, we started a cooperation project, and since then we have a very good relationship between the government of the Republic of Zambia and Jica, and actually we have almost 50 years of experience here in Zambia. So we hope this this good relationship will continue from now on.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're still watching your platform, a program that gives you an opportunity to air views on various matters that are affecting you as a community and individuals. I am now joined by Violet Mengo, a journalist from Zambia Daily Mail. She will be sharing with us the benefits of the tour she undertook to Japan. Violet, welcome to your platform.
Thank you very much.
You are one of the journalists that were invited to the tour of Japan. Briefly share with us, what was the experience like?
Well, it was an amazing experience to be given an opportunity to go to Japan, to experience Japan and get an understanding of that country on its road to development, so that when you come back to your country, you'll be able to share what we learned from that country.
As a journalist, what are some of the things that you learned in Japan in various issues that were presented to you, and how do you intend to tell the story back home here?
Okay, the trip was mostly a media tour, so we toured quite a number of places, about 10 provinces, and they ranged from health, education, economic trade, and recovery of the earthquake. And it was an opportunity to see how our friends have been able to implement and develop in different sectors. Say, like in waste management, you know that we have a challenge in Zambia where we are actually failing to manage our solid waste. And when we went to Japan and we were taken to this incineration plant where that country is managing its waste, it was an opportunity for me when I came back to highlight what I had seen and learned here, so that policymakers would direct their policies to ensure that solid management is managed properly. In the education sector, the same. The way they do their education in that country is something which is amazing. And I was able to highlight some of these places that I saw in Japan in my newspaper, so that Zambians could learn and policymakers could enact laws within that area.
As an environmental reporter, what are some of the things that you learned in Japan environmental-wise, and that you feel you'll be able to tell a story here in Zambia?
Actually, I'm telling the story in that line. From the solid management part of it, it is something that we can pick on, and it starts from just our household. If we stop littering, if we stop, if we can start planting trees, and that is what is happening in Japan, and that is what I have been doing. And other than just writing in my newspaper, I do blogging as well on some of these environmental aspects, especially from what I picked from Japan. You can imagine that Japan is one of the developed countries, and now they're actually even going green. In terms of their economy, they are trying to put in place measures that ensure that they don't emit any gases to the environment, but they ensure that their economy grows green.
As we come to the end of this interview, how has this trip impacted your career as a journalist?
Well, it has given me an insight of what other countries and how other countries are doing, are developing their countries, which we can try. It starts from maybe an individual like myself, and then others also picking it up. You and I know that environmental reporting or climate change is not all that yet appreciated, but the media is coming on. So it starts from just one and others developing their interests, and together we can do something that will be great in this country.
Thank you so much, Violet.
You're welcome.
This is still your platform, and I'm now joined by Japanese Ambassador to Zambia, Hidenobu Sowoshima. He'll be sharing with us some of the projects that Jica is undertaking in Zambia. Your Excellency, welcome to your platform.
Thank you.
What are some of the projects that Jica is undertaking in Zambia?
Well, we have three areas of priority. One is to vitalize the industries. The second is to develop the economic infrastructure. The third area is to improve the social infrastructure. So these are just frameworks, and the government of Japan and Jica together are ready to consider good project in these three areas.
Why did you decide to pick on these three areas?
Because we have a plan. So this is a kind of midterm plan as far as the cooperation of Jica cooperation to Zambia is concerned. So we have this plan. So therefore, I mentioned that's that simple.
Today we are looking at Jica's overseas projects in Zambia, basically looking at the volunteers' work. How has been the impact of the volunteers' work in Zambia?
I think it's not us, the donor side, but the recipient side that who are in a good position to appreciate the impact. But we hope that there are good impacts because, as I said, the total number of the volunteers, both JOCV and senior volunteers and experts, about 100. And they are stationed throughout these countries for cooperation in various areas. So, this morning we had a presentation from one JOCV, and she said that she had a very good time with the community, and she feel happy looking at the smiles of the people. And so perhaps the people, Zambian people also welcome her, JOCV, smiling to them. So I think this is rather not a straightforward answer to your question, but I think impact should be there. But the residents or recipient side in a better position to appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Thank you.
You're still watching your platform, and this time around I'm joined by Community Development Minister Emeline Kabanshi. She'll be sharing with us how the Ministry of Community Development has benefited from Jica projects in Zambia. Honorable Kabanshi, welcome to your platform.
Thank you very much.
Please share with us what has been the relation like between Jica and the Ministry of Community Development?
Jica has worked with the Ministry of Community Development for a very long time, starting from the 1970s, when they first sent volunteers to come and work in Zambia in various disciplines, like in agriculture, in health, and also in community development. So as a ministry, we have benefited a lot because, the Ministry of Community Development deals with poverty issues. And Jica has usually sent every year the volunteers to go and work in different disciplines that have helped us to reduce on the poverty levels in those communities. One of the disciplines I'll talk about is about agriculture. You know very well that if we give capacity to the vulnerable, the poorest of the poor, we help them to improve their livelihood, we help them to improve their nutritional values, and we help them also to improve on the household food security levels. And through those activities that Jica has undertaken in this country, we have seen a lot of development in those areas, like in the production of rice, in the building of capacity of the farmers, and also in making accessible the knowledge that people need in the areas of climate change, environment, and also in the education sector, because without education there can never be any development that can occur in any country.
We have heard that Jica does send volunteers, and currently there are about 70 volunteers in the country. How vital is the role of volunteers in the delivery of community services to the people of Zambia?
It's very important. In fact, all of us are supposed to be volunteers. We are volunteers without even knowing it, because whatever happens in everyday's life involves everybody getting involved. When you find an accident as you are driving for work, as a responsible citizen, you have to stop and see how you can help those people. And in a village, when your neighbor needs help, like being taken to a health facility, people volunteer to do all those things. And what we experience from the volunteers that come from outside the country is just to reinforce what happens here. But what we need to do is not only to depend on the volunteers that come from the other countries, but we also have to avail ourselves to the challenges that we face every day, so that we solve it together without even calling upon government, because government can't be everywhere. Where a person is, government is there, and we can also solve the problems when we get involved at the right time in the right place.
And to what extent has these Jica projects impacted on the lives of the people, especially those in the rural community?
It has impacted very positively because I think they have involved themselves in the infrastructure development, making of bridges, so that the rural people can also have access to the social services like hospitals and also schools. They have also involved themselves in training the people in different skills, like you have seen in tailoring, in adding value to the products that we have. The agricultural produce that we grow, like rape, you saw, like mangoes, and the other products that are produced in the industry, in different industries. We add value and they assist us to do that.
As we come to the end of this interview, Honorable, we know very few Zambians might want to be volunteers in this country, even abroad, because of the tight conditions that most volunteers face as they go out to work. But what could be your call to the many Zambians that might be thinking being a volunteer, it might be a waste of time and some kind of a difficulty?
It's not a waste of time, because time itself is what a volunteer contributes, and also skills, which everybody has. And what I would like to urge all the citizens of Zambia is that we need to avail our skills, we need to avail part of our time to the development of this nation, because if we don't do that, I don't think there will be anybody who will come and develop our nation. You can't be paid for everything what you do, but you can get the results from the volunteerism that you put in place. If it won't be you, it will be your children that will benefit from that. An example that I can give is volunteering to make sure that we sustain our environment. The results won't be seen now, but if we volunteer and we make sure that we do something about conserving our forests, making sure that our places are kept clean, will reduce on the prevalence of diseases, and also the rain pattern will also improve in the future, and the productivity in agriculture, even in energy, will be sustained.
Thank you so much, Minister.
Thank you.
This is where we come to the end of this week's edition of Your Platform, where we've been looking at the Japan International Cooperation Agency project in Zambia and how they have contributed to the development of the nation. I have been your presenter, Macpherson Mukuka. On behalf of my camera person, Nelson Jovu, be sure to join us next week for yet another exciting Your Platform program. For now, it's goodbye and God bless you.
Okay.